first thing was the throbbing vein and the title.
Basically, you just get stressed, don't you? And then your voice does the rest. So
It was just torture.
This project aged me considerably.
Oh God.
Great, brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, do it again.
There's a lot of kind of nervous tension in the room.
Yes, I'm so chuffed.
Surrounded by all these East European artists, and they were like, "What are you doing? This is great!"
No one had really done anything like this in the UK.
I have visions of Carl through the glass in the box, you know. Kind of doing...
Oh my God, strange given.
First series, I think it was insane.
And I'm so embarrassed.
It was a total chaos.
I've absolutely no idea.
Carl, the director, writer, you know, creator. He's quite a good guide for the character because he's quite.
Certain amount of autobiography in there.
Really?
Yes, a little bit, just a tiny bit, just about that much. Drawing on one's own experiences.
Yeah.
So things like the hospital episode. Frankly, I've lived the whole thing from beginning to end. I was that person who didn't have a serious enough injury to be treated immediately and had to wait all day, and the injury got worse and worse throughout the day until I was finally treated because I was in such a bad way. But beyond that, it was a question of constructing a world which made him more stressed than ever. So I thought, well, let's give him some stressful children. So you've got very allergic Claire, so he's going to be kind of hyper alert the whole time. You've got the thickest son in the world. You've got the most successful next door neighbours who are going to put him under pressure. You've got a nightmare scenario at work with the world's most unhelpful secretary. And you've got the world's most bullying boss who absolutely loves the guy next door who works at your work and is also much more successful. So around that central character, you construct a world of maximum stress.
I had hair back in those days. I was a much younger man. I just like to start off by saying this project aged me considerably.
Oh God.
And I remember being very, very, very excited because it was a fantastic script, and very, very, very scared because I knew how hard it was going to be to raise the money to make it.
The script, it was one of those scripts that I think in a writer's career you hit a run of form at certain points in your career. You have a script that comes easily and everyone you show it to gets it. It seems to sort of fly. This was one of those scripts and the BBC liked it immediately.
And then we just had to convince them because we didn't have a pilot, we didn't have a director, we didn't have a studio, actually an animation studio, and we just had to convince them this is something they had to do.
A guy called Kevin Ligo was a big supporter of it. He took it straight to the then controller of BBC Two, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson got it immediately. The timing was good with the BBC because they were looking at doing a homegrown Simpsons kind of thing. Simpsons was just breaking over here. So the timing was good. That all went fine. Actually kind of getting the finer points of getting it together, finding somewhere to do the show, an experienced animation partner, because absolutely, we hadn't done any animation before. This was us doing it for the first time. I'd never done any before.
No one had really done anything like this in the UK. No one had done an adult animated sitcom. People had done. There's a massive tradition in the UK of animation, but mainly short films, and that was around that time that The Wrong Trousers came out, which meant that animation in the UK was being talked about a lot, but that was a one-off half-hour film, and this was something way different.
We ended up partnering with a studio called Klasky Csupo in Los Angeles, who did the first 3 series of The Simpsons, did a series called Rugrats that was very successful. And then the process consisted of, we did the voices here. If you've got a funny voice track to listen to, if it makes you laugh to just put the voice track on, regardless of pictures, you should be onto a winner.
And these are the perfects.
I went and met Carl, and he showed me, as far as I recall, he just showed me the drawing of Mrs. Perfect and kind of gave me a brief idea of the character.
Yes.
And in fact, I wanted to play another part originally. In my head, I wanted to play... Yeah. I fancied that part. But I didn't get that part. But anyway, and I just remember reading the first line.
And as soon as she sat down and she started doing this laser-like, slightly Thatcher-esque, belligerent, it's kind of like someone hitting you over the head.
Hello, Eric, how art thou?
Immediately she opened her mouth, I thought, well, that's great, that's perfect.
Carl just went... I thought, yes, I'm so chuffed, so chuffed. Because I don't know where this voice came from, but it was so clear, that drawing and the way Carl described it, was brilliant.
Well, that was a wonderful outing to the opera last night, Mrs. Perfect.
And there was also a fantastic performance by Alexander Armstrong as Mr. Perfect.
I will away!
Success! Achievement!
Repulsive.
But in a way, I think they're almost the most sadistic because they really do hammer him basically the whole time. And I like the idea of the bits of French that they use.
We were in the middle of a blanc de valet au sabayon de poireaux.
It's not often you get to play such a ridiculous,
Level
horrible
of-
woman.
Feeble, it's PP. My office now.
Yes, okay.
I still say Arsberger. I still quote Paul Power. I still feel that he's a business guru that we can all aspire to.
Arsburgers.
And Arsberger's has got to be one of the best made-up swear words.
Feeble! I just remember having to do that a lot and getting quite tired doing the voice because it's very big.
Get me those figures by the end of the day!
I just remember being in that tiny booth with Mark, kind of, stressing him out.
You've got 20 seconds to say your piece. 20!
And we were very close. So there was a lot of kind of nervous tension in the room.
Yes, no, perhaps yes, no.
And having to produce, this voice all the time. And I was a smoker then, and I was much more out of condition. So I think I got ill after. No, it's not true.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I remember once I did actually say, which I would never say. You never say, "Oh, I can't do it again." But I'd done PP in every way at full volume, berating Eric, and Carl said, "Do you be more just?" And I said, "I can't actually. I'm awfully sorry, but I can't. I can't." I was like standing there, like I'd done a marathon, and I said, "I can't. I've done it every way I can think of for like half an hour. This one speech." And Carl said, "Yes, I know. Just no. I actually can't. I'm sorry."
To be fair, I don't think he said it like that. I think.
I bet he didn't.
No. What is this? 15, isn't it? Yeah. No. Well, I didn't say that. Well, quite rightly, because it must be very annoying for an actor. Because I did fall into that habit of going, "That's great, brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, can you do it again?"
Well, the subtext of all those notes is always, could you just do it a little bit better?
And that must be so irritating.
So I said, "I never said to Carol what I said to you." So how come Carol said I said to her what I said to you and I never said it to her? And I said, "Well, you said something to her about what you said to me." And he said, "Yeah, I said something about what I said to you, but I never said what I said to you. At least I never said it to Carol, I only said it to you."
A huge part of the script work was down to Mike Mahat, who was endlessly patient, and when I was going insane was very sane, and when I was sane, he was going insane. So it was a nice balance.
Yes. Alison!
I'm busy!
I'll never forget his ability to come up with Alison's dialogue.
And he said we go to the pub on Friday and we stop in on a Tuesday. And I said, "I want to go to the pub Tuesday. I don't like stopping in."
You say to Michael, talk to Dean Tothill about buying a car. Dean Tothill about buying a car, and he'd go rattle, rattle, rattle. He'd just be able to write it like that.
Shut your mouth, Dean Tothill. I'm not interested.
And I love her, Alison, the secretary, Dean Tothill. I
yeah.
told you Dean Tothill. I love that. There's a particular tone to Dean's voice in that I think it's great. Really fantastic.
I'm getting a coffee!
Some of them changed as well. That's the other thing. Dunes started off as the original. She was going to be a Checo pair who sang folk songs. But the Dune came in and said, "Well, I do this sort of Spanish-Portuguese thing," and that's how she ended up as Portuguese. So you try and take on board what people can bring to it as well.
She was always sort of moody, wasn't she? And
Yeah, but it's great.
but yeah,
That
it's
accent's
lovely.
great.
Very good
Bizarrely-
accent. from
bizarre-
Dean. Oh, God, please.
Brian was very simply supposed to be the thickest child in school, and he's in the first year, and he's pushing 8 or 9, which is distressing, especially when compared to the girl next door. And Claire's just constant allergy ridden.
No, darling, not that cereal. No, your special cereal. I did love Claire, actually. I really did love little Claire. She's such a sort of sweet character.
But my special cereal tastes so sweet.
Well, I think because I did a kid character in the show in Absolutely, I think that was that Carl thought I would be able to do it.
The
Again, although
definitive
it's
child
a very
character.
different child.
Yeah, very different.
Well, no, there's very much a fashion for that not happening now, which I'm sort of rather in favour of, you know, because I think kids do sound brilliant when they do it themselves, like in Charlie and Lola or Peppa Pig. But actually, it was brilliant fun.
Hello? Oh, hello, Liz.
I can't come tonight.
What?
I need to spend some time with myself.
Carl and I were at university together, so I've known Carl a long time.
Nepotism, that's how she got started.
I'm going for a swim in the lake of me.
She was clearly somebody who was sort of just desperate for a thing, an ism. You know, she needed something in her life. And that, you know, so that she goes through these fads, doesn't she? These sort of, you know, self-help things and like sort of guru ideas.
Being with Caleb has taught me to say no more. Neazme al Kepok Ugandi.
But clearly was still very unhappy.
Confront it, Eric. Confront what you've done.
I do remember this clamped teeth thing. I think she's battling through the tension, and the voice is fundamentally just miserable. But on top of all of that, there's all the other stuff that's in the script, which is, you know, oh, this week I'm into tantric something or other.
Yeah.
Tantric baking.
Yeah.
Eric, relax.
Watching it again, it was great seeing. I like Doc. I really enjoyed seeing that. It was very, very deluged, and I loved Paul Shearer's performance as well.
As it happens, I may be able to help you.
I play the Doctor. Carl phoned me up and said he had this part, and I said, yeah, okay. And I might have said it in a funny voice.
What you need, apart from a soapy shower with a brace of nubile geisha girls, is a relaxative.
Obviously, I'd worked with him before on a radio series called Gorham and Swift Explore.
Again?
The bit that I remember, and it's the same thing really. You go into the booth, and so you're playing whatever character it is, but it is very, very intense because you have to do that character over and over again. And happily, I was playing, you know, very, very chilled, slightly bonkers character. So you kind of you've had whatever day you've had in the morning, and you know, and then you go and you do this character, and then you come off and you are just completely different because of that intense hour session, recording session that you've just done. So poor Mark, I mean, he must be so sorry for him because he must have just been completely wound up by the end of the day. No, you just basically just get stressed, don't you? And then your voice does the rest. So you just get stressed.
Yes.
So it was very hard work in terms of that, because every day I would feel like I'd just been stressed. I mean, because you can't really pretend. No, the worst day was one day when we did two episodes back to back, and that was killing. Just I could barely speak at the end of it. But it's great fun. What fun!
Hang on.
Oh God, please, no.
I have visions of Carl through the glass in the box, you know, kind of doing all this and sort of way he'd conduct like an actual conductor, and just. And this, it was all. He was getting as stressed as I was. You know.
Oh my God! Strange Gibbon behind the glass.
Was he actually in uniform and a peaked cap at the time? I can't remember.
I wasn't saying. First series, I think I wasn't saying. I think I calmed down a bit for the second one.
He was basically poking me with an elephant stick.
He was always standing up and always, sort of moving.
Just
around.
like that. And it was great actually, really great, because it really kept the energy up. And then, you know, particularly with Mark, you know, oh my God, the pair of them were just like a double coiled spring.
But then I was never lonely, just because Carl's was always there, you know, being the sort of surrogate stressed man.
But I have a memory of Mark was behind glass, and I was like this, I was stomping, and I made him walk from the moment he got in, because I thought, we've got to get his energy up, can't let his energy flag. He's got to be this stressed character, because Eric does a lot of walking around, stomping around, doesn't he, because he's always late for everything. And I remember with the first series, I thought, well, don't let him flag, so get him in 10 o'clock in the morning, get him in the booth. There was still like a little sort of sweat box, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You shut the door in there, and there was glass outside, and there was me going like this, and he would stomp around and say, right, and you could hear him, his breathing going up and up and up, and we think he's nearly in a fit state now to burst, so let's record him. So we started the tape off, and he'd be going, and I'd be going like this all the time, and I'd be stomping with him. And about 7 hours later, I'd stop stomping and think, oh, we've been stomping for about 7 hours now.
I'd have to go into training to do that again now.
Did work people quite hard. I'm sorry.
So originally, you know, that at the end of every show when it kind of you go and it strangles him with the vein. I thought that I would be doing the voices. And we did 101 versions of you know, and all that, and I was slightly disappointed. I was slightly disappointed to find when it first went out that they didn't use any vocal. It was just the sound of what is it? It's a sound effect of a steam whistle and a klaxon and a
clock somewhere in it as well.
Yeah. So it was none of my vocalizations in that last bit at all, which I was like, you know, I spent hours doing that. It's a bit. I want my money back.
Give me back my money, please.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's only now when you look back you think, oh, I didn't realise that. And the whole inexperience thing, I remember the first recording sessions we had in Brixton, you know, in terms of not knowing what you're doing, I remember almost like the first time we were in there, Steve had come over and we got all the actors together, we recorded 3 episodes. And we didn't, I mean, it was probably my fault, we didn't even label the takes. So there was about 15 hours so we all went to the pub, so, oh, that was a great session, we'll just go back and we'll go and pick, you know, you get back, there's 150 yeses. And you go, well, where's that one? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Where's that one where he goes, yes? No, it's not yes. Well, is that it? It's just a nightmare.
I remember, yeah, it was set up so to save time and money. 3 episodes were recorded at once, and lots of people in the studio and hundreds of retakes. And of course, no line numbers, and we would just, and it was, I think it was rewriting at the same time, I'm not sure, but it was a total chaos.
And then the process consisted of, well, we did the voices here, the voices went out there and they did the storyboarding and they did the design. I was put together, Steve didn't know him, he didn't know me at all. We hit it off, friends to this day, and we just saw it the same way.
The studio in Los Angeles, Klasky Csupo, had a very long and good track record on producing these like comedy shows. So there were lots and lots of really talented and highly trained artists.
One of the key elements for us was obviously keeping it very British. So there was lots of work went into sending photos out there, to getting research done, to making sure they knew what a British bus looked like, the inside of someone's house, what a British kitchen looked like.
One thing that is a big difference between England and America is, for instance, the size of the streets. And when a storyboard artist had to understand how big a street is or how narrow a corridor in a townhouse in London is, it's very hard to understand that. So they always say they drew from their experience, and the streets became like massive boulevards, like it is in Los Angeles.
Beginning, there came Stig Bergqvist, the creative producer, and Henrik, who was the designer, came over here and they took photos, they walked around London, they did paintings.
And I was trying to do something different, and at the party I met a Swedish guy who were just about to have his visa run out, and he was a little bit kind of, well, what should I do? And I said, let's look at your portfolio. And his painting portfolio was just unbelievable. So I thought, what if we just do that? We just do, you know, like impressionistic paintings. And I had him, Henrik Tam, hired for 3 days as a test. And I said, bring your oil paints. I know, I don't care. It's gonna be smelly, but let's make a statement. And he took his turpentine and his oil paints and started doing these backgrounds. And suddenly we were surrounded by all these East European artists, and they were like, "What are you doing? This is great. Why? How can you do this? We don't get to do this. We do Photoshop." And the owner of the studio were also kind of like, maybe we can do this. And then we sent the tests over to England, and the style got approved, and we thought, great, this could be something really interesting and exciting.
There were other great people. We had Rob Grant was the script editor on Series 1.
First series, yeah.
Mark Freeland was the script editor at Series 2.
That's right.
A brilliant input into the scripts. You know, a major influence in terms of being able to shape a half hour, all that. I mean, Rob Grant's obviously massive experience with Red Dwarf. Not forgetting, of course, Matt Clark, who was our incredible, very long-suffering studio engineer.
And lovely Claire Jennings was involved.
Oh, fantastic! I mean, now multi-Oscar winning.
Correct. And she was actually someone who knew a little bit about animation.
The music was done by a guy called Peter Bakey, who did a marvellous job in conjunction with a really good core group of musicians. One guy in particular who did a lot of composition and arranging, a guy called Jason McDermott. And they had a very difficult job, which is in a very short space of time, often overnight, they had to come up with music. They'd be sent back tapes. In the old days, great huge packages would come back from America, and they'd have to score them overnight, and then send it back.
In you go, you little monkey.
So they created the theme tune for the UK version, which we all loved and still love to this day. But when it came to selling it to the US, they put the episode on to screen, and the title music came up, and someone said, "Who wrote this shit? Change the title music." And it's because of that whole kind of punky, strident, brilliant guitar riff at the beginning. And they hated it. It was too stressful for them.
Too stressful. It wasn't smooth enough.
Wasn't smooth enough. What they wanted to do was show the British version on NBC to sort of put their toe in the water. Right. And we had to revoice.
We had to voice the central character, didn't we? Yeah, because it was that classic thing that I think on a main network, there was, even though they loved the English version, there was no way that they thought their audience would accept a lead voice that wasn't American.
So we reconceived it as an American in London.
That's right. With a new title sequence.
New title sequence and a new theme tune.
We got some interesting reactions in America. Yeah. It was a band in Utah.
It really did what all good shows should do in America. It basically was a big hit on the East and West Coast, which unfortunately is a tiny proportion of the American population. And gradually all the NBC affiliates in the Midwest were phoning up saying, "Get this show off my channel," because they absolutely hated it.
I don't remember it at all.
I can't remember. It was quite a blur.
No, it is a blur.
Okay, let's just establish straight away that I have a terrible memory.
I don't remember auditioning.
I have no idea.
There was free vodka as well, which is why you can't remember anything.
I don't remember. I just told you I don't remember.
I'm so sorry.
Really, the only thing I really remember was this thing of Alison Steadman.
We were recording, and the sound engineer kept saying, "Sorry, ladies, can we just stop there? There's a strange noise. Can we just check the studio, check this, check that?"
But there was this whole session where the engineer was going, "I'm really sorry. There's a noise coming through the whole time." And he came and tapped all the microphones. And he went, "No, that's not them creaking. A lot of adjustment."
So he just kept saying, "I'm sorry, but there's something."
Then there was, "Is there a door open somewhere in the building?"
We started again, and I kind of moved, and when it looked at me,
it was Alison's underwired bra, and every time she said something, it made a big creaking noise.
And he said, "Sorry, can you just lean forward?" And I was like, which was quite good. And I was so embarrassed.
It was just a great show to pitch, and it was a great show to be involved with, and it seemed to speak to a lot of people, and there's nothing quite like being involved in a show which resonates with everyone you talk to about it.
I remember lots of laughing. I mean, I remember we had to redo quite a bit of stuff.
One of the nice things that happened was when we finished the series, I think I maybe had to go back to do bits and pieces or something, and Carl had a cell of picture of Mrs. Perfect, which he gave to me, and I still have it up on my wall at home because I just love it so much. It's just this awful, this blonde and this huge mouth, and I love it. So I've got that in my kitchen. So she looks at me every day when I have my breakfast.
Has she become part of you?
She has.
If we were bigger bullshitters, we'd say it was a carefully crafted plan. That actually we had an idea and followed it through perfectly. And actually, what we did was had some incredibly lucky breaks, which we capitalised on, and ended up with our first choice studio to do the show.
But it was definitely. I mean, I think it was definitely driven by the script. I think we had a good. Yes, actually, I think you're right. It was pure luck.